All right, hello everyone. I was coming to you just to uh, give my 2 cents on the Trey Lance Jimmy Garoppolo situation, how we got here. Um, I believe after the Super Bowl, I don't necessarily believe Shanahan blamed Jimmy Garoppolo for losing the Super Bowl, but I believed he thought he needed something a little bit more, possibly dynamic, at the QB position, and I believe that was just because he felt like they had did everything they could in order to beat Mahomes, and he had found a way to win. I think that more so had to really do with the defense's execution than anything. But to start the 2020 draft off, I believe with COVID going on, they didn't do their full due diligence in checking on the history, basically preparing. And I think them and kind of the Jets were in the same boat with Zach Wilson, as you can see, for a different reason. They kind of just don't seem to want to play for Zach Wilson anymore. And Trey Lance, I think they were willing to play for him. There was just going to be some bumps in the road for lack of experience. Um, as the 2020 draft got started, the process, I believe the Niners really wanted to settle in on Mac Jones, but I believe the only issue with that was Mac Jones is the same type of player as Jimmy Garoppolo, and so they weren't going to be able to. He wasn't going to be able to win a QB competition with Jimmy, making all things being equal, and so they went down the line, and I think the information that ended up coming out on Justin Fields about him maybe not being coachable, unable to read defenses and different things, and kind of his medical history, I believe, was actually leaked by the 49ers. And that was kind of so that they didn't have to draft him, because when you look at things, all things being equal, there's no way you would have taken Trey Lance over Justin Fields with their athleticism, arms, and different things, and the simple fact that Justin Fields played at two top colleges as far as Georgia and then Ohio State. And so the talent he's played around and played against is far superior than what Trey Lance has done. And I believe they kind of settled in on Trey. He was an unknown commodity. He's smart, very big, arm strength is good. And so they figured they could, the dynamic plays would make up for maybe the inconsistencies, not necessarily realizing how valuable Jimmy Garoppolo really is. And so, as you look at that, they come into the season, and it's clear they're going to try to give Trey Lance. He had probably three chances to take the starting position. Jimmy Garoppolo went out in the Cardinal game. If he had played well that game and not gotten hurt, which it seems to be a pattern with him also, that if he hadn't gotten hurt and actually played well, they wouldn't have gone back to Jimmy. I think the bye, or the next game, and then there was the bye shortly after that. But they would have moved on from Jimmy and gone forth. And then also later in the season in the Tennessee game when he got hurt, had he been preparing, or they really felt that he had elevated his game, they would have gone ahead and allowed Jimmy to rest and use that time to really get to see Trey. But I felt that they really wanted to win a Super Bowl because their heart of hearts know Jimmy gives them the best chance to win. Where I think Kyle and John went wrong, they misread the room and they misread the team. The team will play for Trey, but as far as the perception of what's going on, there were going to be some bumps and bruises, and I really don't think at this time there's any need for that. This team is really constructed with the core to compete for the next 3 to 5 years. Uh, you know, that obviously there'll be some down years here and there, but they really have a chance to compete and actually win a couple Super Bowls. And so I don't know what the reasoning is, and I believe they're now kind of caught in a hard place, and hopefully we can go ahead and win. And with that being said, I believe they would kind of move on from Trey Lance. And I don't feel he deserves to be holding the clipboard again because he was given the vote of confidence and now things have kind of changed. And so I think it's better for him to have new scenery, to start over. Uh, I kind of compare best comparable quarterback to him. Excuse me. Best comparable quarterback to him, I would say, is Carson Wentz. Same school, uh, around the same height, stature, arm strength, smarts, awareness, and just athleticism. And I think they compare, in a variety of areas. Uh, One being how I believe Carson got off to a good start, but I think as time has gone on, from his lack of playing high caliber talent in college, that has kind of caught up to him. Because as you can see, there's going on the third quarterback that he's been put up against, with less talent, has gotten more out of the team. Foles being the first one to win a Super Bowl, and then when it became apparent that he didn't even want a competition with Jalen Hurts, he was moved from there. And so you get there, and then he moves to the Colts, um, struggles there, uh, does well initially until people kind of catch up with him, and then you go ahead and move him to Washington. Started off, I guess, so-so, but as you guys can see, Taylor Heineke, the team plays for him, less talent, but he gets wins. And at the end of the day, that's really all that matters. That's what's going to keep a coach there in place and so forth. So I kind of see the same characteristics in Trey, as far as just his ability, but I also see the competition, um, lacking. There should have been an open competition with him and Jimmy. For whatever reason, they've decided against that, even though that would have been in the best interest of the football team. And if next year, if they do decide to keep both, I hope that's where they go. And just kind of he seems to be making sure he stays in sight. It's kind of, he should have been out of sight, out of mind, working on his craft while he got hurt. But now you have the photos leaked. He's trying to kind of push the issue of maybe he can get activated again. And he kind of needs to realize that the team this year for sure is on the path, and he just kind of needs to watch from there. There's no way they could give the team back to him, under these circumstances, and I don't think they would really lose the locker room for that. They he and that's kind of one thing that Jimmy has that that he's shown that he hasn't, as far as putting the team first. Uh, that the pictures, like I said, they kind of there's no need to leak those or even have those out photo ops and different things showing you running and so forth. Just get ready. That's all. We're wanting, as far as whether you're on the team or not. But in my next video, I'd like to float a couple ideas of where the future holds. One I would like to say, is a possible trade destination for Trey would be, because we need to get capital back, and Jimmy's a free agent, so when we sign him, we can still get pieces. And if we sign him and keep the quarterback, we're able to trade Trey either for a draft pick or two or a solid positional player that's already a veteran. That definitely can help. Whether that be maybe a possible another corner, lineman, tackle, center, so forth, and just even another edge rusher. You can't have enough of those. They seem to get hurt, and kind of try to rebuild from there, and not necessarily rebuild, but just regroup and keep the core together and keep building, because I believe they really got a 3 to 5 year window with Jimmy Garoppolo behind quarterback and Kittles and Debo and so forth. And Trent Williams probably maybe has another 3 years or so, to compete at a high level. And like I said, there's an opportunity definitely to win at least 2 championships. So I don't know how we can walk away and go on a new path, when it's clear that we're at the top, at least the top 3 in the, I would say, in the NFL, but definitely the top 2 in the NFC, regardless of our record, because I believe teams that are ahead of us, the style of football we play, it's just it's suffocating. And so I don't think people a lot of times understand that necessarily. You're not trying to. You're trying to, but you're not necessarily trying to score every play. Um, that would create a another issue in itself. So certain times plays are being set up. You're trying to see how things are being played out, and so you're not necessarily going for the jugular. You're just kind of taking your time, and I think that's where a lot of people react to Jimmy in the wrong way. So, like I said, my next video, I'm going to talk a little bit more about the trade possibilities I think could be a great possibility for the 49ers if they do choose to move on from Trey Lance, mostly being that we would have possibly won the Super Bowl or shown great effort as far as throughout the playoffs and necessarily wasn't his fault. And kind of just go over the things I believe Jimmy has been hampered while he's been with the 49ers and things that could have elevated his play for whatever reason that haven't been done. And I believe a lot of those are almost a sign of what they think of Jimmy rather than what they don't think of Jimmy. Because if you don't give someone weapons, kind of like the Tom Brady scenario, and he's not Tom Brady, but for years he didn't get the top flight weapons. He wasn't getting the great receivers. He had people that did their job and executed. And so I think a lot of things like that they've given to Jimmy, but they haven't given the top flight talent. So we have a lot of that obviously on the team now, and that's going to take a lot of time to build. Even though we've had a good run here of late with our win streaks and whatnot, but we're still kind of building. And like I tell everybody, it's not necessarily what our record is now; it's just how we're going to be focused and moving going into the playoffs. So that means our running game is down, our offense is looking consistent. That doesn't mean every drive or Jimmy completing every single pass. But like I said, put your comments down at the bottom. Let me know what you think, and I'll definitely have another video for you tomorrow with an update. Thank you.